Good afternoon, it's Tanya Aarons coming to you from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm, Brisbane, Australia. It's 2:08 p.m. on Sunday, the 4th of December, 2020. The 3rd of December, 2022. I haven't made a video for a while, but I feel inspired to make one. I have gone through a kind of intense catalysation, I suppose. I went dancing last night. The interesting thing about dancing last night was Spirit told me what to wear prior to that. Well, not that I take usually direct orders or necessarily obey orders, but it was flashed into my mind to wear my black velvet maxi skirt with my studded boots and my underbust and this black gothic looking top. So I thought, oh, that's okay. I haven't worn that for a while. I've been dressing a bit more less confrontational, I guess. How can I put it? I've been dressing in more pastel colours and more non-threatening style of dress the last few weeks. And Spirit said, no, reclaim your power. Dress this way. And it's interesting when I wear my corsets that I do indeed appear, maybe because they support my sore back and I feel more grounded and more protected, more held, that I do indeed feel more powerful, and the people around me seem to consciously or unconsciously usually yield to my perceived authority as a mature age woman who's danced in that particular spot and that particular scene for 12 years. So when Spirit suggested I wear that particular outfit, I sat up and took notice, and I actually obeyed, because I know what happens when I dress too feminine and soft. But interestingly enough, there were various attempts at domination on the dance floor last night. I had a good night in spite of it, because I am the Tanya and I hold my own. And, no matter what, I'm there to dance. I'm not interested in the domination tactics or the Stepford Wives type bullying or the primitive childlike petty schoolgirl or schoolboy bullying that goes on, not just in that scene but right across society now. But I'm making this video because I'm processing. There's a lot to unpack and there's a lot to process. I woke up at 1 p.m. from a very, very intense dream, but I'll discuss that maybe later on or if need be in another video, because there was so much to unpack in that dream alone. But anyway, I'll go back to discussing what happened last night in my favourite dance space, which everyone knows is the Live Wire Bar at the casino. So I wore my more gothic, witchy outfit, and I teamed it up with red fishnet stockings that really need to be binned now because they're full of holes, but I wore them to death, people, because they were lovely. And they were bought from a company in Scotland, of all places, that makes stocking or pantyhose that fit, larger, more ample bodied, fully embodied, excess embodied women like me. So they're very expensive, but I like them. But I probably be a while before I buy another pair because they are expensive, and being stockings, they don't last very long. Although I got them to last quite a few wears, which is more than your usual pantyhose that you buy here that are not made to stretch for larger, more ample thighs and hips and tummies. So, but I digress. So so I'm dancing on my spot, which I go there to dance. Primarily my motivation is to dance, to catalyse and cathartise my emotions, trauma issues, by having, quite intense cardio exercise, dancing to rock music. Although they don't really play hard rock anymore, it's more mainstream. I call it cruise ship entertainment. But, there was still some good songs that I managed to get a good old, supercharge up to, so that was all right. And they've changed the culture of the place to a degree. Well, they haven't really changed the culture, but they've changed the timing of the bands. The bands now start at 8:30. They used to start at 9:30, 10, and go until about 1 o'clock. Now they start at 8:30 and they finish by 11:30, which to my mind is insane, but I'm not in charge of the place. I'm just a customer, and like everyone else, I just go with the flow. So because I don't get free car parking until 10 p.m, which is insane given the band started at 8:30, you think they'd change that around. I still turn up at 10, taking advantage of the free car parking, because I have to be realistic with my limitations. And so, which means that I miss the first hour and a half of the band and only really catch the last hour, right? So annoying, because some of the bands I particularly like. It also means that my normal time frame of dancing, which is from 10 till 2 usually, but I've been managing to keep dancing until the DJ finishes at 3:30, has been interfered with, because the rest of my night I'm dancing for the DJ, who of course doesn't play hard rock either. So I'm not really getting the calibre of music that I need to have a really good emotional outlet, which is disappointing, but I still enjoy the music and the dancing, and being out in the world once a week, because my nervous system can't possibly handle any more than once a week. I used to dance 2 nights a week, but it's physically too exhausting for me. There's a fly in my tea. See the fly? Yuck. I'm still going to drink my tea anyway, because fuck it, flies happen. I've probably swallowed 1 million in my lifetime. Anyway, gross I know, but life goes on. I think it was only a fruit fly. Anyway, so where was I? So last night was interesting because there were various things that happened that Spirit told me. They said, just hold your ground. People are going to try and dominate you, which happens from time to time on the dance floor with drunk people. And it's usually fairly harmless. It's just like, more curiosity, like, who's that woman? Why is she going crazy on her spot? I must get to know her. And they usually come up and then they spend the rest of the time trying to, kind of invade my space. And sometimes I let them, sometimes I don't. So it was weird, because towards the end of the night, this woman came up and she was dancing beside me, and I thought she came to dance beside me for protection, actually. Sometimes the women see me, churning out all my excess energy, and they feel safe standing beside me. So I didn't mind, and we danced a little bit together, and I didn't even mind that. But then after a while, there was a whole group of other mostly Indigenous women. We danced together. But then there was like this intensity of like schoolgirl bullying. I don't know, maybe I'm too hypersensitive. But anyway, I just felt uncomfortable in my spot. And so I moved away and danced in another part of the dance floor, which is no big deal. Like, I'm a grown up. And it's sort of an in-joke about the spot though, because that's my space where I like to be. And they know that, the regulars. So anyway, not to worry. I wasn't bothered by that. So my friend Seagal, who often buys me drinks, said to me, "Oh, I've lost my card. Can you buy me a drink?" And I happily went and bought her a drink, because she often shouts me a drink, and fair's fair, you know. So we got her a drink, and I got myself another drink. And so she didn't dance with me. She just sat and had her drink. So then I moved again to another part of the dance floor. Anyway, so it was sort of a bit strange, this feeling of kind of being pushed out of my comfort zone and then being kind of ignored when I was out of my comfort zone. But I mean, I don't care. I was just still dancing to the music. Anyway, the other thing that was interesting during the course of the evening was this very nice man came. He was short and well dressed and had a nice enough good looking face, and it was strange because he wasn't being sleazy. I don't think I think he just wanted to meet me, so no harm in that. And because I don't mingle very often, very rarely, because I'm there to dance, I'm not really interested in, I don't do the hooking up and the trying to seduce men and all that thing, because it's a waste of my psychic energy, quite frankly. The men aren't interested in me there, and the ones that I did hook up with in the past were sadistic and predatory and awful, so I just don't bother now. My prima facie reason for being there is to dance, and if people want to meet me, they need to approach me, which this man did, you know, very courteously. Came up to me and he sort of looked at me for a moment, and then he held his hand out and he said, "Oh, hello, my name is Richard." And I was very impressed by this, because it was a very polite and respectful and forthright way to meet a woman, right? Without any sexual agenda or any lascivious kind of slathering that goes on. It can be quite revolting, which is why I go home after nights of dancing and I often go into breakdown mode, primarily because after 2, 3, 4 hours, I'm getting more stamina, people. The last few months after going back after being unwell, I was only able to dance 2 hours, and now I'm up to 10:30 till 3:30. What's that? 5 hours. It's intense. So I'm building up strength again, which is a positive. I mean, physically, mentally, I'm very fragile when I come home. After not even dealing with people, but being out in public, surrounded by people that a lot of them have got not very nice agendas, or there's that kind of sexual competition, which I won't buy into. But there's always some sort of seedy undercurrent that I'm highly sensitive to after decades of trauma. So I usually go home I drive home in breakdown mode. Sad but true. And yet these people see me dancing on my spot, joyously and wildly and triumphantly, and they have no idea the emotional cost it all has. So there is that. But anyway, this lovely gentleman, Richard, had just barely introduced himself to me. It was very strange. It's almost like, I don't know if it's spirit doing it or if it's button pushing from people. I can't define it, whether it was deliberate or whether it's button pushing or what it was. I've never met the man before, I haven't seen him before. But anyway, he said to me, looked me in the face, and he said to me, "What do you think of the people here?" It was a strange thing to ask of a woman you've just introduced yourself to. Well, the Tanya, the psychedelic dreamer, is nothing but forthright and truthful and factual, and at times blunt. So I thought, what a strange question to ask, but pertinent. So I looked him straight in the face and I said, "Well, my darling," I said, "the people here are by and large zombies." And he went, I said, "But however," I said, "they were zombies long before the vaccine craze started." I said, "and the zombieism has only intensified." And he looked at me in shock. And then I looked at him and I said to him, "And bear in mind," I said, "since I've been coming here for 12 years and dancing here, I must be a zombie too." He looked at me. Anyway, he proceeded to tell me that he had been a regular customer years ago. I couldn't actually hear everything he was saying. He spoke very rapid fire, and the band was drowned. Was the band on at that time when he approached me? It was a DJ who was on. Anyway, he was drowned out. Some of what he was saying was drowned out by the music. So I'm trying to follow along. But from what I could gather, some workplace, he did mention the workplace, but it was muffled, where he worked in the city. He said he used to come here to the casino years ago after work with his mates, and he said we had some really wild old times, and it was a really, we had really lovely times. And I smiled, because by and large I have really lovely times too, except for the former incestuous nature of the place, where everyone slept with everyone, and the nastiness that went down for years. It's actually improved, to be honest, because a lot of the old guard of those nasty, vicious people aren't going there anymore. So at least I don't have them to deal with. Former lovers and their girlfriends and the satyrs. It was really perverted. But anyway, here we go. So this nice man was chatting to me, and I was actually impressed with how nice he was. Seemed intelligent and a bit decent, But I didn't flirt with him, of course, because I'm dancing. So I just smiled politely and kept dancing. And there was another woman, also dressed all in black, in a shorter dress than I had, because I had maxi skirt down to my ankles. And she was very pretty, attractive, blonde like me, very slim, very elegantly dressed. She came over to me and introduced herself in this really femme fatale, almost drag way. It was actually quite delightful. And she said, held her hand out, and she said, "Chantal." And I'm thinking, the way she said it, I felt like saying, "Is that even your real name?" But I thought, I won't be nasty, I won't be nasty. There's no need to be nasty. But it was just it was actually quite delightful how she introduced herself. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. Chantal. I'll never forget her name, will I? She will not be forgotten. So anyway, so she danced with me, and then she said something like, because drunk people, they always say that, "Are you beautiful?" And I was like, "Oh, thank you, darling." And I just sort of find the whole thing quite amusing, because it's like, most things that come out of their mouth they don't mean, and they don't remember the next day anyway. So anyway, I was very bemused by that. And so I can hear thumping and bumping about me in the neighbourhood, so I'm just conscious that they listen, and sad but true. Anyway, all they have to do is go on YouTube and they get all the stories from me direct from YouTube, but they don't think about that. They've got to listen in around the neighbourhood, like insidious little crabs coming out of their dark little burrows. What's Tanya doing now? Oh, she's getting alive. Oh my God, she's getting alive. Kill her now. Anyway, whatever. Sad asses. So anyway, Chantal made a very big impression on me. She's a very nice woman. Superficially nice. She decided, because she'd seen this man give me attention. This is what happens at the casino, why I don't meet men at the casino, because the rivalry and the sexual competition is off the fucking scale, and I don't care. It's like, I really don't care. I'm not there for that. So they think they're like upsetting me on some level, and I just lean back and go, whatever, because I don't care. As I had so much disappointments in the few relationships that I tried to have with people there that, it's a fuck fest. If you're there for a fuck, go for it, but don't bring your trash up in my face. Go do your thing, fuck off. That's my attitude. So anyway, the funny thing was, she said, oh, I like that man. Which I didn't even know. Oh, yeah, Richard. Yeah, nice man. So she made a beeline for him. So anyway, it was quite funny. She sat down with him. She's sitting with him and he's looking at me. And but not in a sexual interest, more curiosity, I think. Because he could see I didn't give a flying fuck. I'm just doing my thing, dancing. Anyway, she came up a couple more times and danced with me, and I'm going back to my man. I was like, he's your man already? Like, Jesus, girl, fast worker. Anyway, I just laughed. I just nodded. Okay. So, yeah, anyway. But apart from her being a little bit borderline and predatory and kind of moving in on, this nice man, that's all right. That's what they're there for, no harm, no foul there. So then a bit later on, I thought, well, I'll get a drink. So I went to the bar and I'm lined up for a drink. And there was a man to the left of me and a man to the right of me. And they start having a conversation. Now, how did that start, actually? It was also a bit bizarre. The man to the right of me was younger than me, nice shoulder length curly hair, which everyone who knows me knows I have a fetish for men with nice hair. But he was too young for me. He was like probably my daughter's age, probably late 30s, maybe at early 40s, somewhere around that age, between 35 and 42. And, there's a pigeon drinking out of my little fish pond. I don't know if you can see it. She's beautiful. Anyway, so this younger man to my right turned to me and he was just like staring at me. Those bedroom eyes that men give you when they're like staring at me like this. And he's like eye gazing with me, right? Which is a very intimate thing to do to someone. Eye gazing. You're sharing a piece of your soul. So I'm eye gazing him back very calmly. Like this. We were like this. For a good few, probably about 20 seconds. And he was still staring into my soul. And I thought, he's a bit special. So I broke it up by saying, predator. He looked at me and went, and then just smiled, and I nodded. I said, got your number, boyo. And he nodded, and then his friend next on to the left of me says, oh, well, that's because he's got a Scottish accent. And I said, oh, do you, love? I said, do you have a Scottish accent? Let me hear you speak. And he goes, oh, yes, I have a Scottish accent. I couldn't tell if he was bunging it on or not, because, again, couldn't quite hear with the noise in the background. But he did have a bit of a Scottish accent. and he looked Scottish. He was dark and swarthy with, brown curly shoulder length hair and a bit short, but he definitely was a Celt. Anyway, so the guy to the left of him said, and I'm from Wales, and I punched my fist in the air and I said, oh great, I'm surrounded by Celts. I said, I'm in good company. Anyway, they both thought that was delightful. Anyway, younger Scottish lad, unbeknownst to him, there was another Scottish man that comes there regularly after he finishes at Irish Murphy's pub on the dance floor, and his name is Carl. And he doesn't particularly like me much from the years when I was at Irish Murphy's and I had my own little spot there, and I used to go off and, do my performance art and my cathartic catalysing of my emotions and my spirit and my little short fat, German, Polish, Scottish, Irish, English, New Zealand and adopted Australian Jewish body, right? So all the ancestors come riding shotgun with me when I go dancing because of my trauma issues. And, I'm always in esteemed company even when I'm alone, right? Nice. So Carl doesn't particularly like me. So Carl appeared. He always appears. He's always stonking drunk by the end of the night anyway. And he's also a bit high camp and a bit extroverted in his manner. And, I kind of like him in a way, but I know he doesn't particularly like me, and I don't give a fuck. Doesn't worry me. And I don't even usually admit to liking him, really. I just usually give him a hard time deliberately because it gives me one. So stirs me up a bit. Anyway, it's harmless. It's been going on for years, but it's harmless. So anyway, he turned up and he literally minced over to me, almost drag queenish, minced over to me. Was he mincing or was he just drunk? It's hard to tell. And he came along, stood sort of in front of me, but not too close because he's afraid of me on some level. And it's more that he's afraid of me than that he doesn't like me, to be honest. Well, that's all right. I think I told him a few times in the past in Irish Murphy's to naff off because he's just, he's just a lad and he's just annoying sometimes. But anyway, he wasn't being annoying last night. He just approached me, stood opposite me about 6 meters away. And he went, oh, it's you. Like this really disgusted kind of tone. And so I just turned my head like this. The security were watching me like a hawk last night because I've been getting a little bit aggressive at times. I have been amping up with my triggering and my trauma issues. I admit to that. But anyway, because he went, it's you, like I'm some sort of piece of scum under a shoe. And then he turned sideways so that he could see my reaction out of one eye. This is how high camp he is. He's not gay, but he's very high camp, this man. So anyway, he's turned sideways to eyeball me, but from the side, almost in this like kind of contemptuous, disdaining kind of way. So I just put my finger up and went, and then looked away like contemptuous too. And the security guards was a nice man that works there that is quite kind to me. Just try not to laugh, just the way how I manage them all with their mad. It really is madness. It's all just a play. Shakespeare's right. The world is just a play, and all that come and go are merely players and actors, and it's all performance art. And then they meet me, and even though I am a performance artist when I dance, they're also meeting someone who's deeply authentic and genuine and real, and they don't know, they can't fucking handle it, man. They're so superficial and narcissistic and psychopathic. They can't handle a real woman. It scares the kilt off them. So anyway, this nice Scottish man at the bar, I was deeply amused because I was thinking, oh, here we are, another Scotsman. That's interesting. Anyway, I was going to tell him, I said, oh, one of your compatriots is over there, but they probably know each other anyway. So anyway, I wasn't too bothered. So I get my drink, I go back to my spot, I drink my drink, and the younger Scotsman followed me, which is unusual. It's far too young for me. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with these young men, honestly, these days. They're not right. They're just, who chases after a 57-year-old woman who doesn't give a fuck? I guess it's tantalising, right? Because everyone else is like chasing their ass and I'm like just being avoidant, trying to just mind my own biz. So anyway, he came and danced near me, but then he danced with a very attractive younger woman, more his age group, and I was pleased about that. So, I thought, well, that's good, He wasn't after me, but he just found an excuse to dance near me, and that's harmless enough. So he danced near me with this lovely, beautiful younger woman for a while, and then they drifted off. So, that was okay. That was interesting and okay. So, meanwhile, the Stepford wife dressed in beige that had edged me out of my actual traditional spot was standing on her own in my spot, drinking, looking at a phone. Like, really? You could have done that anywhere. So I wasn't too worried. I'm on the opposite side doing my thing, dancing, and but I was just intrigued by the reverse cowboy, I guess, attention I was getting from men last night. It was like a backwards kind of slap, because the one that perceived to be interested hooked up with Chantal, the femme fatale, who was delightful, and the other one with his reverse cowboy, I love you but I hate you demeanour, Carl of Irish Murphys infamy. It's just really, he's hilarious, but he's a bit of a jerk. So, but I'm not bothered by that. I've been dancing in that scene with him and other members of that, clique, that music scene for years. So I know what they're like. Zombies. They really are zombies. So, apart from that, I had a really good night. My friend Joe and Sally didn't stay long because Joe got sick and had to go home, which was awful. Poor Joe. It did cross my mind. I thought, God, I hope it's not COVID, because if it is, I've caught it. But I feel fine. So far, I feel fine. I just feel emotionally wrecked from dancing for 5 hours. But physically, I feel fine. So, and anyway, if I get COVID, I get COVID. It's endemic and it's everywhere, and it's a miracle I haven't caught it yet, especially given that I dance out once a week in that seedy dance scene, where by and large the people are just not always very nice. That was the other interesting thing that I wanted to tell you. So quite late in the evening, probably about 1 o'clock-ish, this couple turned up, and they were sitting at the tables closest to the bar, so quite a long distance from me, like 20 metres, 25 metres, 20 metres, and I was out of my traditional spot, but on the right hand side of the bar, and the wife or the partner was really looking at me, really, really interested, and she reminded me of a former friend I had when I used to go to this outlaw motorcycle clubhouse. She was very much her energy. It might have even been her, but I don't know. I haven't seen her for 10 years. and but it might have been her. But it was similar energies. The second time, like last weekend, I thought I saw a woman that reminded me of her as well. And and it sounds awful. This is going to sound judgmental and awful, but it's not meant that way. But that particular woman who turned on me like a rabid dog, under orders by the VP, whose son threatened me with a pistol. But anyway, never mind. It's ancient history. But the woman that turned on me, I was a good friend. I was a good friend too. So it hurts. It hurts that I was a good friend to this particular woman. And she turned on me, but of course she had no choice. She was told to by the powers that be, that decided randomly out of nowhere they didn't like me, and I'd done nothing wrong but defend myself. But fuck it, it's always that way. I defend myself and protect myself, and I get vilified for it. So fuck it, I'll always fight for myself because no one else will do it, right? Sad but true. Anyway, so this particular woman reminded me of Trish. Now, when I met Trish at the clubhouse, Trish had, when I first was going there, she had smashed broken teeth from years of doing speed, to be honest, and also being domestic violence, being smashed in the face. All her teeth were like little sharp shards of brokenness. And she was a very pretty girl. Like, she was 32 when I met her. She already had teenage sons, so she'd been a mother very young, like I had. And she was from the rough side of town, brought up, hard way. But she was a very pretty girl, and she was very savvy and astute and streetwise and intelligent in her own way. Not educated, but intelligent and wise, streetwise. So when she smiled, you'd see all this mouth of absolute putrescence and brokenness. And, I have a dental implant too, from when that tooth died when I was 13. When I smiled, I had a big black tooth, right? So I'm looking at her and with my own black teeth, feeling awful about my teeth, which have been a problem all my life. And this particular incident, we were at the clubhouse, and she had a thick gold chain, like that thick. It was about a centimetre wide around the neck, quite a long one. Very valuable chain, right? Beautiful gold chain it was. And she said, "Oh, look at what my partner bought me, I won't mention the partner because, I was threatened out of there, so if I name names, they probably will kill me. Just how primitive and fucking stupid they are. Instead of thinking that I was a good friend to them and actually had their back, I got vilified, so fuck them. But anyway, Trish, I digress, had this beautiful gold chain. And she says, "Oh, what do you think of my gold chain, Tanya? Oh, he bought it for my birthday and it's beautiful and I'm so happy." Anyway, I looked at it and I held it in my hand and I weighed it in my hand and, and I looked at her and I said, "That's really lovely." I said, "But I want to tell you something and you're not going to like me for it. I hope you won't be insulted." I said, "But I mean this for your highest good." And she goes, "Oh, what?" And I said, "See my tooth, how it's all black and dead and horrible looking? I lost another one here recently, another black hole of Calcutta. My nerve endings in my teeth literally die. And when that one went, I had an electrical shock in the tooth. It went psst, and I knew the minute I got that sensation, I thought that tooth just died. And within a day, it went black. Look at it. Fuck. This getting old thing is really hideous, I've fought so hard to keep my teeth. Teeth are important to me because my mother wore dentures and used to torture me by making me clean them when I was a little girl, which I cured her of that by soaking them in bleach and not rinsing the bleach off properly. When she got a mouthful of bleach, she stopped me from having to clean her teeth. There's something deeply degrading about being made to clean my mother's teeth. You know, I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it normally, but it was just the way she'd go about it. It was just so... Anyway, that's a whole other story. So I'm looking at Trish with her smashed teeth, and I said to her, it's a beautiful gold chain. It's absolutely beautiful, and you deserve only the best, Trish, as do we all. I said, but I want you to know something. I said, see my teeth? I said, it's a nightmare. It's ugly. I said, I look like a hobo when I smile. People judge me badly for having shitty teeth, which is not even my fault. You know, poverty plus losing teeth, you know, it's a medical thing when you lose your teeth usually. And I said, and people judge you and they don't treat you properly. When you smile, and the first thing someone notices usually is their teeth. So I said, I'm telling you this for a reason. She said, oh, I know. She said, my teeth are really, really bad, Tanya. Like, she said that they actually hurt all the time. And she said, they're just shards now. I said, Trish, I said, you need to go. I said, you have a pension card, disability pensioner like me. I said, you need to go. I said, it's going to hurt, but you need to do it. I said, forget the fucking gold chain. It's beautiful and wear it in good health. But the money from that gold chain could have been put into fixing your teeth. I said, but they're beyond being fixed now. She said, yes, they are. She said, I did a lot of speed in my day, which, you know, she admitted herself. And I said, yes, I know, darling. No judgment. People self-soothe with whatever they have to hand, and a lot of people turn to drugs to cope with their lives. And I said, and I get it. So I said to her, go down to the public dental hospital. You have to line up for hours ahead of time. I said, and get yourself some dentures. I said, I've been trying to avoid dentures all my life, admittedly. They're not comfortable, and I said, they're hard to get used to. I said, but you would be better off to have all those pieces of broken bone removed and have absolutely no teeth than how you look now. I said, you're a beautiful young woman and you deserve to have a beautiful smile. And she turned her head and she looked at me and she said, no one's ever told me this. And I said, no, I bet your mother never told you. I said, but I'm telling you because I want you to look your best for you, no one else. She looked at me and she nodded. Anyway, she didn't take offence, which was fortunate given where I was. Anyway, off she went. A few weeks later, turned up to the clubhouse and just said, Tanya, come in the bathroom, I've got to show you something. So I was like, what? Anyway, so we went into the toilet and she opens up her mouth and all the broken, horrible, smashed teeth were gone, and it was just all gum and it looked quite sore. And I said, oh darling, I said, I'm so proud of you. I said, that must be sore, but it's worth it. You'll get better and you'll have nice dentures, and when you smile you'll look lovely, and you take them out at night anyway. I said, you'll feel better for it. I said, if mine get much worse, I said, I'll have to do the same. I said, but when I get my inheritance, because at that time I was fighting to get my paltry bloody inheritance. It was a disgrace what I was put through. An evil disgrace, but never mind. I said, when I get my inheritance, the first thing I'm going to do is buy new front teeth, which I did do. Cost me fucking 10 grand, but I did do it. And it's an ouch, because I only had a very small inheritance, so it was a big chunk of my money went on my front teeth. So I can smile at you looking glamorous. Yay! Meanwhile, this is dying. This one's dying. Everything's dying. So really all I was doing was delaying the inevitable. Anyway, so I'm segueing to this story because Last night, this couple were there, and the husband had a tattooed tear under his eye, which traditionally means he's killed people that have a tear under their eye. Traditionally, I don't know if it's true in all cases. Maybe somebody just feels like having a tear under their eye. But traditionally it means they've killed someone. Anyway, I was keeping an eye on him because I'm intrigued and I'm well aware of what the tear means. And I'm thinking, the most dangerous man in the casino right now, I might just keep my distance. Having been already threatened once at the clubhouse in the day, it's like, don't feel like chasing death down a dark hole, rabbit hole spiral again. But having said that, I'm actually completely fucking fearless, right? Because even when they did threaten me, I held my ground, so there was that. Anyway, I don't know this man. I don't know what clubhouse he's with. Even if he is with a clubhouse, it's irrelevant. I don't know him from Adam. So, but I marked him and I noticed his little tear. And he sort of even turned his face to make a point of it. And I just quietly, didn't nod, but quietly sort of gazed at him, you know. This is from the distance, mind you. Anyway, his partner reminded me of Trish because she had the very same... It's weird though. It's weird. People who do a lot of methamphetamines... it's really weird. They have the same bird-like... they're almost like little birds, their mannerisms. And it's very quick and rapid fire and very hypervigilant actually, but it's very staccato. So I was, and the partner with the tear, he was in true gangster style, which I find delightful. He was very calm and stoic and watching, and he was watching me for a long time, which I found a bit odd actually, given that I don't know this couple. But the partner or the wife or the partner was also watching me, but she was more excited and agitated and staccato and darts like this. And anyway, she was watching me so obviously for quite some time, and I was just calmly dancing in my spot, not my own spot, the other spot, in my new... It sounds so weird, doesn't it? I am weird. I really am quite weird. But anyway, I was holding my own. Anyway, she looked at me, she nodded and smiled radiantly and also had no teeth. And from what I could see from the distance. And I thought, is that Trish? Is it? But I thought, well, Trish, if that is you did nothing but stab me in the fucking back and in the face. So fuck you. Like, I don't have any hostility towards her per se. But I certainly wasn't going to crawl over and go, oh, hi, how are you? Haven't seen you in years. Fillet. Suck. Not my style. So anyway, but I don't know if it was her, but I felt like it was her in a weird way. Anyway, same energy, same body type, wiry and very thin and very bird-like. So she made a point, a big point, a bit later of stepping out sort of a bit further away from the partner and nodding at me and waving to me, which I thought was sweet actually. Very sweet and heartfelt. Like, she seemed like a genuinely sweet person and heartfelt, wanting to befriend me from a distance. From a distance, there is harmony. Or whatever. Anyway, whatever. I mean, I have to laugh. But anyway, very nice presentation. I liked that. So I waved back and nodded friendly like, but I still didn't approach her. And the partner's just like watching, like amazed. because like they don't know what to make of me, most of the people that go there, let's face it. But anyway, I think he understood. He just sat there and he just quietly watched me, and I think he realised I'm just there doing my own thing. I'm not engaging with most people. They can see I don't approach people usually. Unless I have something specific I need to tell them, like they've got, toilet paper on their shoe or whatever. Like at one point there was a woman dancing near me whose glasses fell off and were in the middle of the floor, and there was some drunk yobbo was about to stomp onto them, and I actually dived forward to rescue her glasses, because having glasses myself, I know what a damn nuisance it is when you get your glasses stomped and how expensive they are to replace. So there was that. So I'll do sweet things like that for people, but usually I don't really engage too much. So anyway, when I left, I didn't acknowledge the couple. I just went. I actually was busted to go to the loo, so I raced to go to the loo, and then I just left. They'll be back. Anyway, they were a nice enough couple. They didn't cause anybody any dramas, or just doing their thing, and that's what I like about the underbelly types is they're real, usually quite real, and not harmful unless they perceive you're a threat, which I still don't understand what happened in that clubhouse years ago, except I debriefed with my psychiatrist at the time, and I said it was just before this drive-by shooting, and I think they were actually doing me a favour to get me the fuck out of going there so that they could guarantee my safety. I think in hindsight 2020, they actually did me a favour, but in this weird, backhanded, half-assed, fucked up kind of way, Oh well, it's a story to tell my grandchildren I'll never have, because my kids are all vaccinated. Fuck. What a horseshit thing that is. And here's the thing, we don't have the right or the time or the energy to judge anyone anymore, because we're in a society where everyone's just waiting to be pinged off at any given time by our own governments or by some random fucking disease. Really, nothing new under the sun. It was always that way, but now it's just in your face and out in the open and hanging out like grandmother's drawers, right? Jesus H. Christ. Anyway, so this video is now 52 minutes and 50 seconds long, and I wanted to tell you about my dream. So I'm going to stop now, and I'll come back and tell you about my dream, because my dream is also got me thinking and a concern about where our society is going, or where I personally am going as I fit into this paradigm. It's a worry. Okay, I'll be back in a moment. Good afternoon from Sacred Space.